And as we do every week, we always want to start with really just clarifying, our core. What are our thoughts around this coming week? What are our thoughts around last week? What went well, what didn't go well, kind of all of the above. And so this is something we do every week. We start with let's evaluate, right? So if you evaluate last week, what number would you give last week between 1 to 10, 1 being you fell way off track with whatever your intentions were, whatever your goals were, whatever you're trying to accomplish, 10 being you were in alignment and you really went after everything. Like what number would you give last week? And Fiona, you can put it in the chat. Good morning, SJ.
I probably would be around a three.
Around a 3. Okay. All right. That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. This is an important. It's an important step every single week. I often have said to you all that when you evaluate, you want to ask yourself the questions. What went well? What didn't go well? What's working? What's not working? Right? And those are some good questions. Those are some good questions to really help you just kind of clarify. Fiona says a 5, didn't set intentions, so didn't go backwards, but didn't move either. I don't plan to have weeks like that. Yep, no 2 weeks in a row. And so I would say if your week is a below an 8, right, you are in prime territory for a good evaluation. Like, man, what didn't work? Like maybe it was distractions, right? Maybe you got thrown a curveball, right? What happened last week that you really felt like, I wasn't an 8, I wasn't on my game, things weren't really working out for me. Where did you feel like you went off track? So you want to take some time to really do that evaluation. After we evaluate, then we always want to set our intentions. Fiona, I know you are a busy person as a wife, as a mother, as a leader in your job and with the clients and the team that you lead, as a keynote speaker, entrepreneur. I know that you have a lot on your plate, but you got 5 minutes. We all got 5 minutes. I don't care how busy you are. You could be the president of the United States. You got 5 minutes to take time to hit the pause button, even if you have to do it in the shower, right? And to actually set intentions for the week, right? Setting intentions on Sunday is a major necessity. I found it helpful to reground. Yes, as the week is busy. 100%. So we have to take the time. We have to take the time to really set our intentions. So really thinking about what are the things I want to experience this week. Setting intentions is all about you defining what you want your week to be like. I want to experience. And think about it. We're not on goals yet. Think about it not abstract. Think about it in terms of feelings, right? When the week is over, what do you want to feel, right? That's what we're talking about. When the week is over, what do you want to feel? I want to feel fulfilled. I want to feel accomplished. I want to feel inspired. I want to feel aligned, right? I want to feel like I made progress. As you're thinking about this week, this is Sunday. Come Friday afternoon when you're getting in bed, when you're winding down, right? And you're processing your week, how do you want to feel? I like to say, and I said this to you all before, that all of us, I believe, are created to live extraordinary lives. And the extraordinary life is a result of you experiencing 3 things. You are aligned with your purpose. Y'all remember this? You are aligned with your purpose. You are intentionally growing, and you are impacting others. And what this looks like, aligned with your purpose, intentionally growing, impacting others, what this looks like is that you wake up inspired, you go to bed fulfilled, and you spend your days doing what matters most. That's what the extraordinary life is all about. You wake up inspired, you go to bed fulfilled, and you spend your days doing what matters most. And so, what intentions do you need to set today that would allow you to go to bed fulfilled? Right? To end the week fulfilled. Man, for me, let's just practice this right now, right? We got 5 minutes, right? For me, what are my intentions this week? Let me look at my calendar. Okay, so I look at my calendar and I'm saying, man, okay, I'm be traveling this week. I have to do a keynote in Cincinnati this week. I'm connecting with a health system this week. I'm going to see some friends this week. So, man, at the end of this week, I'm looking at my calendar right now. At the end of this week, come Friday, I want to crush the keynote, right? So I want this, whatever that feeling is. My intentions this week are to crush the keynote, right? And to get a lot of positive reviews from that. I want to have a meaningful conversations with some friends, with a friend that I haven't seen in a while. So I want to have a meaningful conversation with him. When I'm flying back to Southern California come Friday afternoon, I want to be on that plane feeling gratitude. That's what I want. My intentions this week is to have deep resident gratitude, right? So take just a few minutes right now, even if you need to close your eyes and just process. Come Friday afternoon, what do you want to experience when you think back about your week? Even if you want to put it in the chat. Accomplished, consistent. Yep. SJ, what about you? What were your intentions for this week?
I guess just to finish strong.
Okay. To finish strong. I like that. I like that. Your intentions. You want to finish strong.
I'm still at the elementary level, working my way out of sabbatical, so I want to feel enthusiastic.
Enthusiastic. That's good. So you really want to clarify the purpose of intentions is to clarify the why before the what. These goals, right? The goals, this is the what you want to do. The intentions are the why you want to do it. So we want to take a minute and we want to clarify what's the why before the what? What really matters to you this week? What do you want to create? What do you want to feel? What do you want to contribute? Those are the questions that we're asking. What are 2 or 3 themes for the week? Not 10 themes, 2 or 3 themes. Connection, courage, consistency, finishing strong. And at the end of the week, come Friday afternoon, Friday evening, Saturday morning, you want to take some time, as we just did, to really reflect, did I live out my intentions this week? Where did I see it working? Where did I drift? This is all about slowing down, building self-awareness so that we can take the learnings into the next week. Right? So intentions, the why. Goals are the what, right? So what are your goals? In light of your intentions of being consistent, what does that look like if you frame it as a goal, Fiona, right? So if for me, my intention this week is connection, gratitude, and crushing, like I'll use those three words. I want to have crushed it, connection, gratitude, and crushed it. What are my goals? Well, my goals are, man, I need to make sure my keynote is locked and loaded. It's pretty much done. It's 95% there. My goal is to get everything done today for my keynote. So come Monday, I can just reflect on it. I can embody it. Come Tuesday, I can begin to rehearse it to myself. Come Wednesday morning, I'm ready to go, right? I step on the stage with confidence. So now I'm saying, okay, this is my goal, right? This is the goals that I'm working towards. So for you, what is your goal in light of your intentions? What's the goal that you want to achieve? What do you want to shoot for? Right? So you want to finalize your LLC. You want to spend 30 to 60 minutes each day on your business, right? Is it 30 or is it 60, Fiona? It's 30. Right? The goal needs to be specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, time bound. Right? So we don't want to give ourselves a spread. If it's 30, I'm going to spend 30 minutes a day. Is that 5 days a week or is that 7 days a week, Fiona? 6 days a week. So you're going to spend 30 minutes, 6 days a week. So that is, what is that, 3 hours? Right? Is my math right? So you're saying you want to spend 3 hours on your business, finalizing your LLC, spending 3 hours on your business. That's good. That's a goal. The next question is, okay, what's our roadmap? What's our plan? So when are you going to spend those 3 hours? Is it 30 minutes in the morning? Is it 30 minutes in the evening? Is it on your lunch break? When exactly are you going to spend those 30 minutes? During lunch. Okay. And so let's mark out the time, right? And let's time block it right now. Set it on your calendar as a meeting that cannot be that is a non-negotiable. So from 12 to 12:30 every single day, I'm going to spend that time working on my business. So Anita, you say spend a minimum of 3 hours each. Is that each day, 4 days this week writing? So you're saying you want to spend, what is that, 12 hours this week, right? 12 hours this week writing. Okay, excellent. And then we execute, right? And execution, we recognize, in order for you to reach your goal, what support do you need? What accountability do you need? So in order for you to spend your lunch break during lunchtime, Fiona, for 30 minutes, what support do you need? What accountability do you need? How are you going to balance spending that 30 minutes and eating if you're eating during lunch? Is this a working lunch? Is this a non-working lunch? Are you going to eat 30 minutes ahead of time so then you have 30 minutes of focus time? Are you going to eat afterwards? Are you not going to eat lunch? Like, how are you going to manage that situation, right? Anita, when are you planning on spending your 3 hours?
Between the hours of 1 and 6.
Yes, ma'am.
On today, Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, minimally.
Okay. So that's 12 hours, and that's 3, 6, 9, 1 to 6, 3 hours, 4 days a week. Okay. So then, this is what we do. This is the next question. It looks something like, it looks something like this. Let me pull it up here. I want you to think about it this way. So your goal is 12 hours, right? So we take, let me write this in a different color. So we take task completed and we want to divide that by task due, and then we multiply that by 100. So at the end of the week, the total task that you have due is 12 hours. At the end of the week, if you spent 12 hours, right? Let's do the math. 12 divided by 12 times 100 gives you what? You get a 100. If, though, for example, you only spend 8 hours for the week, let's say you do 2 hours rather than 3, you do 2 hours, right? So that's 2 hours. So let's say your task completed for the week is 8 hours divided by 12, because that was the number of hours you had due. So then 8 divided by 12 times 100, that gives you a 66.6. What did we just do?
Operationalized, really measured success
Yeah.
of our goals.
Yeah. This is what we call the execution measurement system. And so we're saying to ourselves, let's see how well you are executing. So this is the goal that you set for yourself, right? This is the goal that you set for yourself right here, 12 hours. And so all week long, we want to track how many hours are you actually getting done. So at the end of the week, we can see, oh, how many did you actually complete? Of the 12 that you were going to set aside, how many did you actually complete? If this number falls below 85, then we have to ask ourselves, what is going on? If your child brought home a 66 on a math test, what would you say to your child?
Unacceptable.
Unacceptable. Right? And they would say, Mom, well, I studied, but, there were some questions that I wasn't anticipating. Okay, that's fair, right? It happens. Okay, so what do we need to do going forward? Okay, I need to study a little more. So then they study a little bit more, and then the next week they bring home another 66 on their math test. What would you say?
Need a tutor. Gotta hire someone.
You need a tutor. You need a tutor. You need to hire a coach. You need something's going on. Give me that tablet. We're cutting off the TV. You're not going to basketball practice, right? You're dropping gymnastics, right? We're getting you help, right? We're changing schools. We're like, if you saw that they were consistently underperforming, right, then you would not be okay with that. And I think what this system does for us is it really helps us say, am I underperforming? On a weekly basis, am I at least getting an 85? Like, that's the minimum. We need to be getting an 85%. Because I know if I can complete 85% of my goal, it's going to at least move me closer to the finish line. If I'm below 85%, the likelihood that I hit my goal it drastically decreases. Because then I'm going to realize I'm not really making progress on my goal. I'm losing momentum. And when you lose momentum, you start to slow down. When you start to slow down, you stop. And then when you stop, you get stuck. And when you get stuck is when you start to say to yourself, man, how did I get here? I don't know. Should I even do this goal anymore? And it's not because it wasn't a bad goal. It's because you were consistently getting below and 85. And so this week, I really want you to think about, okay, whatever my goal is here, let me identify the number of hours I'm going to contribute towards that goal. And let me keep a record of those hours so that I can actually track how well I am doing at accomplishing my goal. And if I'm falling below the 85% threshold, maybe I fall below week 1. If I'm doing again week 2, something's wrong. Either I am lacking clarity around my goal, and either, I love my triangles. I am lacking confidence that I can reach my goal, or I am lacking the community to support me, hold me accountable as I'm pursuing my goal. One of these three are wrong. If, Anita, you're saying to yourself, I'm going to spend 12 hours this week, were you saying, was yours to write yours wasn't to write a book, was it? What'd you say? Writing. Yeah, writing. Right? So I'm going to spend 12 hours writing. If you're not spending 12 hours writing, it's because one of these three things are off. Either you're not clear, like, I don't know if I really, what I should be writing about. And you're just kind of like, you're in this fog, or you don't have confidence that you can actually write. Like, I don't have confidence that people are going to read it. I don't have confidence it's going to add value. Or you lack the supportive community that's going to keep pushing you forward. Right? And so we want to track our progress based off of time. Time is the great, what's the word? It's the great, it's not the equalizer. Yeah, it's the great assessor. Like it really it's the assessment of, are you serious or not? How much time have you put towards this? Right? Talent will get you so far, but time investment is what really determines how serious you are about reaching your goal. Right? Make sense? Thoughts, questions? Yep. River says 30 minutes cardio in my gym 7 days a week for the next 4 weeks. Perfect. Right? 30 minutes. So that is, what is that? You're talking about 3.5 hours, I think. You're going to work out for 3.5 hours? A week for the next 4 weeks. Now we know. That's good. Thoughts, questions? Does this make sense? Yeah. What are you thinking? What are you thinking, Fiona? What are you thinking, Anita? What are you thinking, SJ?
It always makes sense.
It always makes sense. That's not the problem. The problem isn't whether or not it makes sense. Right? I got it up here. I just don't got it like everywhere else. Makes a lot of sense. Execution is the problem. So that leads us to what I want to just dive in today. In order for you to reach your goal, right? Your ability to spend 4 hours writing, not 4 hours, 12 hours writing. Fiona, your ability to spend 3 hours working on your business, your ability to spend 3-4 hours working out, it all comes down to, and you've heard me say this before, it all comes down to cash. Y'all remember this? It all comes down to cash. Knowledge, attitude, skills, habits. In order for me to spend 12 hours this week writing, what do I need to know? What do I need to know? Or who do I need to know? In order for me to spend 12 hours this week writing, what mindset do I need to have? In order for me to spend 12 hours this week writing, what skills must I develop? In order for me to spend 12 hours this week writing, what habits must I form? In order for you to reach your goal is going to be directly connected to how much cash you have. The more cash you have, the more likely you are to actually reach your goal. If you are not reaching your goal, it's because there is a deficit of cash. So I want you to ask yourself that important question of, what do I need to know? What attitude do I need to have? What skills do I need to develop? What habits must I form? We say the problem is execution. Execution really kind of falls down to cash. I'm not executing because maybe there's a knowledge, I don't know how to execute. Or my mindset, my attitude is off. My skills, I don't know, like I haven't developed the skills. I don't have the habits. So think about, and let's just walk through this, Anita. We'll walk it through with you. In order for you to write, what do you need to know? What attitude do you need to have? What skills must you form? What habits do you have to, what skills must you develop? What habits must you form?
Well, I need to know what I'm writing about.
Okay.
Have a structured outline.
Okay.
To what I intend to write.
Okay.
I need to have have access to references available.
Okay.
As far as my attitude, I need to maintain a positive mindset and continue to remind myself that this will be of benefit and a blessing to others.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As far as skills, being able to write well, I think I have that covered.
Yeah. So, I mean, you might say like, okay, maybe there's the skills of, do I need a writing coach, right? Do I need somebody to help me with the outline? Do I need an editor, right? When it comes to actually writing the book, yeah, I can write it, right? Maybe, am I going to use AI to help supplement the writing, right? Is there a skill as far as how to navigate AI, right? And how to do it ethically? Is there something I need to do as far as publishing? Like maybe there's a, and that might go to the who do I need to know? Maybe there's a publisher you need to know or someone you need to form a relationship with, right? And so for you, the big goal might be, I don't know, to get your book published, right? If that's why you're writing. So the big goal might be to get my book published. And so then we ask ourselves, okay, in order to publish my book, do I want to publish it and for it to become a New York Times bestseller? Do I want to publish it and for it to become a Wall Street Journal bestseller, an Amazon bestseller? Do I want to have a relationship with a publishing company, right, where they're pushing it out, or do I want to self-publish? And so there's a lot of questions that you want to clarify when it comes to your specific goal with this book that you're writing. And then once you started to kind of really land in like, oh, okay, I don't want to self-publish. I want to publish it with a reputable publishing company that can get it out there and it can be in, all of these venues. Okay, how much cash who do I need to know? What attitude do I need to have? What skills? What habits? The habit might just be, I have the habit of writing every single day for 60 minutes, right? Or every single day for 2 hours. I spend the first 2 hours of my day writing, right? 6 days a week, that's 12 hours. Boom, it's done, right? So that might be the habit. And while you're spending that time writing, you're also, learning about the publishing company. You're learning about the Do I need an agent, right? A literary agent who can shop my book around? And maybe there's some other authors that you have in your network that you can reach out to see how they did it and what they learned from the process. So you're not having to reinvent the wheel. Right. And so that's what this is really all about. It's really about you taking the time to really think through, okay, in order for me to accomplish this goal, how much cash is required of me? Right. Now, I don't know if you all follow the gentleman by the name of Alex Hormozi, right? But he is, have you ever heard that name before? Okay, that's interesting because he's a very big social influencer entrepreneur, and he just wrote his third book, and he did it. He had a book launch, and he did the book launch live on YouTube, and he broke a Guinness World Record for selling the most amount of books in like a 24-hour period. He sold 3.5 million books, and he made, if not over, close to $100 million on his book launch, right? It was phenomenal. It was like, to watch it, it was like, wow, like he's actually doing this. Now, there's a lot that went into it, but if that is your goal, let's say your goal, his goal, let me just use him for example, his goal was to break the world record. So he had to then ask himself, okay, if I want to break the world record on the most books ever sold in 24, 48 hours, what do I need to know? What attitude do I need to have? What skills do I have to develop? What habits must I form? Everything in our life comes down to cash. If you want to, where you are in life, you became a professor, you did all these things, it was based off of your cash. Fiona, you going into the keynote speaking industry, it's always going to be based off of how much cash you have. Right? So really thinking about this week as you're setting your goals and you're looking at, okay, what are the tasks that I need to complete? How many hours? Also just kind of mapping on top of that, this framework of what does it look like for me, right? Where's the gap? This is my current level of cash. This is the level of cash required to reach my goal. How do I close that gap? Right? And this is the reality, is that the person that is there is going to be different than the person that's there. Because Anita, as you grow your cash, you essentially become a different person. You learn more, your attitude changes, your skills change, your habits change. So Anita, who at one point spent no time writing, now is a prolific author because she spends 2 hours a day writing. That Anita is a different person, right? You are shifting, you are changing your identity. You went from a non-author identity to an author identity. And now whereas one point you introduced yourself as, yes, I'm a professor. When people ask you, what do you do? I'm a professor. Now when people ask you what you do, it is, I'm an author. And your identity has shifted. You have elevated who you are from here to there. Where's the that's easy button? That was easy. Fiona, make sense? Totally makes sense. Totally makes sense. So, yep. The difference, and I like to tell people all the time, the difference between the CEO of the company and the frontline worker of the company is cash. The CEO has more cash. They have more knowledge. They have a different attitude. They've developed different skills. They have different habits. The cash that person has is greater than the cash the person has who's sitting on the front row, the front lines. Right? So, questions, thoughts, comments. So, homework for this week is to really spend time. Yes, Fiona, I'm going to spend time evaluating my current cash and identifying. Yes, that's it. Those are the 4 questions. What do I need to know / who do I need to know? What attitude do I need to have? What skills? do I need to develop? What habits must I form? That's it. Take the person that is your champion, right? Last week we talked about the champion, that person that is maybe 4, 5, 6 steps ahead of you. Look at them and evaluate their cash. What do they know that I don't know? Who do they know that I don't know? What attitude do they have? What skills do they have? What habits have they formed that I currently don't embody? And then let me begin to assess and evaluate and increase my cash. You know, I don't got to hit the jackpot. I don't get to hit the lottery and do it overnight, but 1% better every single day. 1% better. All right. Any questions, thoughts, comments? So this week you have a few homework assignments. I want you to really track the total hours completed. How many hours did you actually spend doing what you said you were going to do? I also want you to then, by Friday, you know, I want you to come up with your execution score. How well did you execute? And you might say, okay, I have a score for my writing goal, my business development goal. Maybe you also want to work out. You know, hey, this week I want to work out 5 days a week. I want to spend at least 45 minutes in the gym. You know, how many hours is that? That becomes your workout goal. Maybe you have a calorie goal. Hey, this week I only want to eat, 2,000 calories a day for the next 6 days. So that's 12,000 calories. I'm tracking my calories. My total is 12,000. Did I go over? Right? And then I can know, like, man, how am I doing with my health and fitness? Maybe it's a spiritual goal. How much time do you want to spend this week meditating in prayer? Man, I want to spend 30 minutes every day, 45 minutes every day in worship. Okay, that becomes the goal, the task due. And we map against it. So for our faith, for our finances, budgeting goals, for your fitness, for your future self, for your family, what is that hour that you're striving to spend? What is that goal, time requirement that you're striving to accomplish this week? And then let's map against it and see where our score is. And then along the way, asking yourself, what do I need to know? What attitude do I need to have? What skills do I have to develop? What habits must I form? All right. SJ, makes sense? Some of this we've gone over before. A lot of it we've gone over before. All right. We won't be on Thursday, but we will be on next Sunday. And so we won't be on Thursday, but we will be on next Sunday. And if you have a family, a friend, someone that you think could benefit from this type of community, I would love for you to send them information about it. You can send them to my website, and I'll put the link in the chat, Vision Clarity. And then down at the very bottom, I'll put this link. It's just accelerate/accelerate. You can send them that information. And then anyone who's watching online, it's the very same. It's just Vision Clarity, consulting.com/accelerate, and you can get information about joining this community. So, Anita, any questions? You're good? Okay, excellent. I'm going to be expecting a couple YouTube videos from you this week. All right, love you all. Have a wonderful week. Bye.